Hi everyone, my name is Victory Abosede Momo, but you can call me Angel Vicky. So I'm your coach, I'm the CEO of Vamb Concept and the organizer of this graphics design training that you're about to get. So why not sit tight and get your book, get your pen, because we are going to be covering a lot of things. We are going to be doing a whole lot. You don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out. So we'll be covering a lot of things. But for this video, this is an introduction video. So we are going to be covering the uh, theoretical aspect of it, because it's actually into two aspects. We have the theory aspect and the practical aspect. So after the theory aspect, we'll be doing a lot and lot of practicals, a lot of designs. So for this aspect, we are going to be learning okay. So this is the theoretical aspect of it. you know you cannot start a design when you cannot start like designing when you don't even know the meaning and the concept of design. You can't design something you don't know about, you don't know the meaning of designing, you don't know the basic principles, you don't know, and you just want to design. So that's why I place the theoretical part of it before the practical part, so you can boast of yourself. If they ask you, how about this graphic designing? What is even graphic design that you're designing? Because some clients are very funny. So you will not be lost and be like, it's just to design flyers. It's beyond designing flyers. It's beyond, the things you assume it to be. So in this video, I'll give you a breakdown of what you will learn in this particular video. Introduction to graphic design. What is graphic design? The concept and the aspects of graphic design. And we'll be learning color composition, we'll be learning layout, I will tell you the different software for graphic design, resources for learning graphic design, obviously, then popular graphics trend, fundamentals or fundamental concepts that you need to know on graphic design, specific design principle, key principles of graphic design, specific design elements, graphic design elements, specific design techniques, application of graphic design, examples of design numerous, then different type of flyers. So sit tight and let's get right into it. Hold your pen and your book. Make sure you jot, because this is no child's play. Once you take everything with levity, it's not going to work. But once you put your effort and your strength into learning, you will come out outstanding, you will come out bright, and you will come out the best. Wish you success in your learning journey.
Now, so I'm telling you the details of graphics design, everything you need to know about graphic design. I'm doing this in a video because it's kind of lengthy. Then I'll be explaining as I'm reading it out. You understand? I could as well be explaining on the group, but why not visualize it so you can see it the way I'm reading it? Then for time consumption, time management. Now, everything you need to know and the details on graphics design. Everything you need to know and details on graphic design. Now, graphic design is actually a very broad field. It covers everything from print design to web design. It can include things like creating logos, advertisements, websites, illustrations, and packaging. It can also include more specific areas like user interface design, motion graphics, and data visualization. It really depends on what you're interested in and where you want to focus your skills. Graphic design is all about communicating a message through visual elements. This training is actually in two sections. We have the theoretical aspects and we have the practical aspects. So don't ask me, Coach Victory, how about the explanation and all that? The explanation is plenty. So it's better for you to watch till the end before we start the practical proper. Now, let me continue. It combines text and other elements to create a design that conveys a message or idea. Graphic designers often have to consider things like color theory, composition, and typography. They also have to think about the audience they are designing for and the purpose of design. Subheading: Concepts of graphic design. There are different aspects of graphic design. One aspect is typography, which is the art of arranging and designing text. Another aspect is layout, which is the way that text and images are arranged on a page. Color is also a very important aspect, and it can affect how people perceive a design. There are also the use of images and illustration, which can be used to communicate ideas or emotion. And then there's user experience, which is how a design makes a person feel when they use it. For design concepts, let's start with color theory. Color is a big part of graphic design. It can be used to create different effects and evoke different emotions. For example, red is often associated with passion and energy, while blue is often associated with calmness. So in your colors, anytime you are using red, you should know that it shows passion and energy emotions, while blue is often associated with calmness and trust. Then other colors have other meanings. So it's important to know that different colors can be used to create contrast, balance, and harmony in a design. Color also has different cultural meanings, so designers have to consider the cultural context when choosing color. Hope you are following so far. Now let's talk about composition. This is how the different elements of a design are arranged. The rule of third is a common guideline for composition. This is that a design should be divided into thirds, both horizontally and vertically. The important element of the design should be placed at the intersection of this line. Other principles of composition include balance, unity, and symmetry. Does this make sense? Now let's talk about typography. I'm sure you've heard of all these things, but maybe you've not, actually seen it compiled into notes. Typography is the art of arranging text to create visually appealing design. Very understandable and self-explanatory, right? It involves things like fonts, choice, size, spacing, and line length. It's important to choose a font that's appropriate for the message and audience. Typography can also be used to create emphasis, hierarchy, and rhythm in a design. Okay, one example of creating emphasis with typography is use of bold or italicized text. This makes the text stand out and draws the eye into it. Next, hierarchy. Hierarchy can be created using different sizes of texts. For example, headlines might be larger than body text. Now you have seen this hierarchy, you may not just be aware that it's called hierarchy. You see headline very big and bold. You see the next text. You see the sub headline text. Then you see the other small ones that are very tiny. So these are hierarchy, arrangement of text in sizes, in different sizes. So that is it though. Okay, this creates a visual hierarchy that guides the reader through the design. Now rhythm can be created using repeating elements like lines or shape. This creates a sense of movement and flow in the design. Now audience. Next, this is one of the most important considerations for a graphic designer. The designer has to consider who will be seeing the design and what their needs and expectations are. For example, a design for children's book would be very different from a graphics design for financial reports. Now it's better for you to know your audience. Once you know your audience, you will know what they want and you give them exactly what they want. That's why I wrote it here, that a design for children's book will be different from a design from for financial report. If you give a child financial report, it will be very confused, right? You will not even understand what is there. You feel like playing with it or even tearing it up, right? So that is exactly in the aspect of your audience. If you give someone that wants if maybe someone comes to you, you know, and he wants a church flyer, and you are giving him another thing. You understand? Okay, maybe you gave him a church flyer, but on the church flyer, you were writing odd things. You understand? You were like writing "Welcome to school" or something related to school. You don't draw people that are going to school. You now write "Welcome to church." You know that kind of thing. So, no, know what your audience wants. Different audience have different level of knowledge and different goals. The designer need to take this into account when creating design. Does that make sense? Now, different software for graphic designing. You must clap for me. You must clap. It's not easy. There are many different programs used for graphic design, but the most common are Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. Now, Photoshop. Photoshop is used for editing. I wanted to point it out. Photoshop is used for editing and manipulating images. Illustrator is used for creating vector graphics, which are images that can be resized without losing quality. Now, InDesign is used for creating layouts for things like magazine and books. If you are new to graphic design, there are some free alternatives to Adobe program. For example, GIMP is a free alternative to Photoshop, and Inkscape is a free alternative to Illustrator. These programs can be used to create simple graphics and design. Another popular tool is Canva. Now I told you to download some tools. So this is a free online program that allows you to create graphic design with a drag and drop interface. It is very user friendly, and it has a lot of template and design elements to choose from. Another free online tool is Vector. It's similar to Inkscape, but it has a more intuitive interface. These tools are great for beginners who want to get started with graphic design. Pixel, Pixel Lab is also very useful for graphic designer, as it has a lot of function and enables one to design from scratch. So in Pixel Lab, you can actually design from scratch. So Post on My Wall is also a site for designing or redesigning even on phone. I'm going to be when the practical, aspect time comes. I'm going to be showing you everything, even in this Post on My Wall aspect, that you need to know. So Post on My Wall is also a site for designing or redesigning even on phone. Please disregard the noise. Don't let the noise affect you. Now, another great tool is Pixlr. This is a free online photo editor that is similar to Photoshop. This is spelling Pixlr. So it's similar to Photoshop. It has many of the same features such as layer, filters, and adjustment tools. Another option is SketchUp. This is a free 3D modeling program that is great for 3D graphics. On iOS, there are few great tools for graphic design. One option is Affinity Designer. This is a vector drawing app that is similar to Illustrator. Another option is Procreate. This is a drawing and painting app that is great for Android. Some great options are Autodesk, Sketchbook, and Adobe Illustrator Draw. These are both great for creating sketches and drawing. Don't worry, because we are making use of mobile phone or our various smartphones and Android for designing. Now let's upgrade resources for learning graphics designing. There are many free online resources for learning graphics designing, including what there are some prepared videos like this video you're watching on YouTube. We have blogs and websites. Our YouTube channel has great videos on graphics design, branding, and creativity. Now, the website Canva Design School also has many helpful tutorials and articles. Now, you can also read books. You understand? One great option is the non-designer design book by Robin Williams. This book is great for beginners as it covers the basics of design in a simple and easy to understand way. Another option is The Anatomy of Type by Stephen Coles. This book is great for learning about history and structure of typefaces. Now, popular graphic design trend. One current trend is the use of bold colors and geometric shape. Another trend is the use of minimalistic design with clean lines and simple shapes. Another trend is the use of gradient and duotones. Now, gradient are two or more colors that fade into each other. You'll be seeing it when we start our practicals. Now, duotones are two colors that are combined to create new color. I'm sure you've seen these things, but maybe you don't know the name or what it's called. Now, another trend is the use of retro and vintage inspired design. Now, what is retrography? What is retro design? These often feature bold colors, graphic shape, and a throwback to the styles of the past. So you can be using other throwback or color designs to get inspiration of the design you want or you are going to be creating. Now, if you want to learn more about graphic design trends, I will recommend checking out websites like Awards and Design Inspiration. These sites feature the latest in graphic design and can give you a good sense of the current trend. One great resource is the website Behance. Now, Behance is a platform for showcasing creative work, including graphic design, illustration, photography, and more. Another great resource website is Dribble. Okay, this is Dribble. Dribble is similar to Behance, but it focuses more on digital design. Now, one great resource is Creative Market. This website offers a variety of digital assets for graphic designers, including fonts, templates, and illustrations. Another great resource is Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is a visual search engine that can be a great source of inspiration for graphics designers. Yes, that's why I told you to download it. It's a great source of inspiration, and the images uploaded, you can download it for free. Now let's go to fundamental concept of graphic design. We've talked about some aspects or concepts above. So fundamental concept is similar but with a little addition. All right, let's start with visual hierarchy. This is all about how to create a focal point in a design. It's important to understand how eyes move through a design and what catches the viewer's attention. You can create a focal point using size, color, contrast, or shape, and then you can use other elements to lead the eye around the design. For example, you can use lines or shape to direct the eye. Now, another important concept is color theory. This is how colors are used to create emotions or meaning in a design. There are also the ideas of grid systems, which are used to create structures and organization in a design. And then there's the idea of texture, which is how different elements are combined to create a sense of depth and dimension. Now, color theory is one of the most important concepts in graphic design. It's all about how colors are perceived and how they interact with each other. Colors can be warm or cool, bright or muted, and they can create different moods or emotion. There are also some basic color combinations like complementary colors, analogous colors, and triadic colors. Now, do you want to learn more about this color combination? Sure things. Complementary colors now. Complementary colors are colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. I'll be talking more on color wheel, but for now, let's continue. Now, they create a more subtle and harmonious effect when used together. Tricolors are three colors equally spaced. Now let's talk about balance. This is one of the most fundamental concepts in graphic design. There are two main types of balance, which are symmetrical and asymmetrical balance. Now, symmetrical balance is when the elements in the design are evenly distributed on either side of the center. Asymmetrical balance is when the elements in the design are not evenly distributed, but the overall design still feel balanced. The third type of balance is called radial balance. Radial balance is when the elements in a design radiate out from a central point. And this can be a very dynamic and interesting type of balance. One example of this is the sun, with its rays extending out from the center. Now let's talk about the use of negative space in design. Do you know what negative space is? Okay. Negative space is the empty space around and between the elements in a design. So you see that you know it, right? It's just as important as the actual element himself. Negative space can be used to create emphasis, balance, and reading. And it can also be used to create visual interest and add meaning to a design. Next is typography. Typography is the art of arranging text to create a specific effect. It is more than just choosing a font. It involves size, spacing, weight, and style of the text. Have you ever heard of kerning or leading? Now, kerning and leading are two important concepts of typography. Kerning is the space between individual letters. Now, it is important to get the kerning just right so the text is legible and looks pleasing to the eye. Leading, on the other hand, is the space between lines of text. It helps to create visual reading and make the text easier to read. Now let's talk about a concept called golden ratio. The golden ratio is a mathematical concept that can be applied to a graphic design. It involves using certain proportions and shapes to create a pleasing and harmonious design. For example, the golden ratio can be used to create a visually pleasing layout for a website or poster. Have you ever heard of the Fibonacci sequence? The Fibonacci sequence is closely related to the golden ratio. It's a mathematical sequence in which each number is the sum of the two before it. The sequence is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. The Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio are often used in graphic design to create a visually pleasing composition. The golden ratio is also found in nature, art, and architecture. Do you want me to give you some examples? Why not? The golden ratio is found in nature in the spiral shape of Nautilus shell, the arrangement seed in the sunflower, and the proportions of a honeybee hive. In art, it's found in the composition of painting by Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. In architecture, it's found in proportions of Parthenon in Greece and the Great Pyramid of Egypt. There are also many ways the golden ratio can be applied to graphic design. It can be used to create a more balanced and visually appealing layout. Some designs even use the golden ratio to create beautiful and eye-catching logos. Now let's talk or move on to another important, concept: hierarchy. Hierarchy is all about organizing and prioritizing information in the design. It helps to guide the viewer's eyes and helps them understand the most important parts of the design. Hierarchy can be achieved through size, color, composition, position, and contrast. For example, a headline, I've said earlier, might be larger or bolder than the rest of the text, making it stand out and grab the viewer's attention. Another example of hierarchy is the use of white space. White space is the empty space between the elements of a design. White space can be used to create a sense of balance and order, and it can also be used to draw attention to certain elements. For example, a designer must use white space to create a border around an important pieces of text. One thing to keep in mind when using white space is the rule of thirds. Now, what's the rule of thirds? This is a compositional guideline that suggests dividing the design into 3 equal parts, both horizontally and vertically. This creates 4 points of intersection that can be used to place important elements. For example, a designer might place a logo at one of the intersections to draw the viewer's eyes. Now, next heading: specific design principles. The first design is called alignment. I'm sure you've heard of alignment in one way or the other. Alignment is about creating a sense of visual order by aligning the elements of a design. This creates a sense of balance and cohesiveness. The next principle is called contrast. Contrast is about creating a sense of difference between the elements of a design. This can be achieved through differences in color, size, shape, or texture. Contrast can be used to create a sense of visual hierarchy and to draw the viewer's eye to certain elements. Another principle is called repetition. Repetition is about repeating elements in the design to create a sense of rhythm and unity. For example, a logo might be repeated throughout the design to create a cohesive look. The next principle is called proportion. Proportion is the relationship between the size and the scale of the element in a design. Proportion can be used to create a sense of balance and harmony. For example, a designer might use a large, bold headline with smaller body text to create a sense of proportion. Another principle is called rhythm. Rhythm is about creating a sense of movement and flow in a design. This can be achieved through repetition of elements such as lines or shape. Now let's move to the last principle: emphasis. So, the last principle, right, is emphasis. So these are 6 key principles in a design. So emphasis is about drawing attention to a specific element of a design. This can be done through the use of contrast, shape, colors. Emphasis can be used to divert the viewer's attention to the most important parts of design. All of these principles work together to create a cohesive and effective design. Now, specific design element. Specific design element. Specific design element. Now that you know about the basic principle of graphic design, let's move on to specific design elements. The first element is called line. Line is a basic design element that can be used to create shape, movement, and direction in a design. Line can be straight or curved, and it can be used to create a sense of balance or contrast. The next element is called shape. Shape is an element that is created when the line is closed. Shape can be geometric like circles, squares, or organic like clouds or trees. Geometric circles that we know like squares, geometric shape rather, like circle, square, and all that. Or organic shape that like cloud, trees. These are shapes that are found in nature. These are shapes that they are not used in mathematics. All those what is it called? Quadratic equation stuff. They are not used in all this right angle calculation. These are shapes in nature. Hope you understand. Now, like clouds or trees, they can be positive or negative depending on how they are created. The next element is called texture. Texture is an element that refers to the surface quality of a design. It can be smooth, rough, or bumpy, and it can be either real or implied. The next element is called color. You'll be hearing of color. Color is very important. Color is an important element that can evoke strong emotions and create mood or atmosphere. Color can be used to create contrast or harmony, and it can be either warm or cool. The next element is space. Space refers to the area around and between the elements of a design. It can be positive or negative, and it can be used to create a sense of balance or rhythm. The last element is called value. Value refers to the lightness or darkness of color. Next, how elements and principles are used in design process. Now let's talk about these elements and principles used in graphic design process. The first step in design process is called research. This is when designer learns about the audience, purpose, and goals of the design. Next comes sketching. Sketching are rough ideas that are used to explore different design options. After sketching, the designer will move on to refining. During the refinement stage, the designer will take the best ideas from the sketches and develop them further. The next step is called composition. This is when the designer decides how to arrange the elements of the design to create a pleasing and effective composition. The final step is called production. This is when the design is created in a digital format or printed out. Now note, your design can be printed out. You understand? You see many designs in form of banners, posters, even flyers, all those uh, and bills and all that are printed out. You know. Then we have the design that are soft copy, like the visual design. But you can also they can also be printed. Next heading, specific design techniques. One of the most important design technique is called hierarchy. You know, these things, you see that some of them are repetitive, right? They're like, there's repetition in this word. It's just because under these headings, they are, they're also still specialized under these headings. Now, hierarchy is the use of visual cues to show the relative importance of the element in a design. For example, a designer might make the most important information larger or bolder than the rest of the text. Another important technique is called consistency. Yeah, consistency. Called consistency. Consistency is the use of the same style and layout throughout a design. This makes the design look cohesive and professional. Yes, there's something with consistency. If you think you're using different style or plenty styles, so your design will be unique. Sometimes it will just be washed out, or it will just become, too much of everything is not good. So you have abused it to become like a child's play. But if you use like the same style and layout throughout your design, it makes the design look cohesive and professional. And there are many other techniques we could discuss, like scale, color theory, and contrast. Let's talk about scale. Scale refers to the size of the elements in a design in relation to each other and to the overall design. Scale can be used to create a sense of depth or perspective, and it can also be used to create emphasis. The next technique is called color theory. Color theory is the study of how colors interact with each other. There are many different color theories, but one of the most common is the color wheel. The color wheel is a circular diagram that shows the relationship between different colors. It is divided into primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. Now, what are primary colors? I'm sure you know about primary colors. These are red, yellow, and blue. Secondary colors are made by mixing two primary colors together. For example, red and blue makes purple. Then tertiary colors are made by mixing primary and secondary colors. Now, there are also warm and cool colors. Do you want to hear about the meaning of colors? Wonderful. Different colors have different meaning. I said it earlier, at the beginning of this video, that or at the beginning of this teaching, that different colors have different meaning. Now, red is often associated with passion, power, and strength. There's this saying that red is love. Anytime you want to show red, you might show it with love, but the true meaning of red is passion, power, and strength. Blue is often associated with calmness, serenity, and trust. Yellow is often associated with happiness, energy, and optimism. Green is often associated with nature, health, and growth. Purple is often associated with loyalty, luxury, and spirituality. Orange is often associated with enthusiasm, creativity, and playfulness. There are other colors and their associated meaning like black, white, and grey. Let's talk about black. Black is often associated with sophistication, elegance, and mystery. White is associated with purity, cleanliness, and freshness. Grey is associated with neutrality, balance, and modesty. These meanings are just generalizations, and the actual meanings of colors can vary depending on the context. For example, red might be associated with love in one context and anger in another. Yes, let me explain on this. So it depends on the context. You cannot just say, oh, red is associated with love. Let me be using red only for love, because in another kind of context, the red can also be associated with anger. So it depends on the context of your design. Do you understand? Now that we've covered color theory, let's move on to technique. called contrast. If you've watched this place, you really tried. That is good. Keep it up. This is for you. You know, me compiling this note at first, then explaining it. You know that it's not a easy thing, to compile and to also, read out and to also explain and to also teach. Someone reached out to me and was like, where is my location so that I can come down and learn it, like, is it, will I say privately now? Learn it privately because the person did not see this happening. He doesn't believe, uh, graphic design can be taught on WhatsApp. But if you open your mind to this, if you open your mind, I assure you, you will do graphic design. You that you are just starting, you will do graphic design even more perfectly, than someone who has spent years designing. So now let's continue. Okay, we've talked about different colors and their meaning. Okay, now that we've covered color theory, let's move on to other technique called contrast. Contrast is the use of opposite elements to create visual interest. For example, dark text on a light background. Now, you cannot write a light text on a light background. So when you are writing with a light text, make sure the background is dark. And when you are writing with a dark text, make sure the background is light. Now this creates high contrast, while light text on a dark background creates low contrast. High contrast is more noticeable and attention grabbing, while low contrast is more subtle and calming. Contrast can be used with many different elements, including color, size, shape, and texture. Another important technique is called balance. Balance refers to the visual weight of the element in a design. Elements can be balanced symmetrically or asymmetrically. Symmetrical balance is when the elements are evenly distributed on both sides of the center point. Asymmetrical balance is when the elements are not evenly distributed but the design still feel balanced. Balance is important for creating a sense of stability in a design. Now, application of graphic designing. Graphic design can be applied in many different ways. One common application is in branding and marketing. Graphic designers create logos, packaging, and other visual materials to help a brand communicate its message and build a strong identity. Graphic design is also used in web design to create websites that are visually appealing and easy to use. It's also used in product design to create products that are both functional and aesthetically pleasing. Now let me give you a few examples of design. Let's start with the famous I Love NY logo, designed by Milton Glaser in 1977. This logo is a classic example of simplicity and minimalism in graphic design. It features the iconic heart shape and bold black text. The logo is now instantly recognizable all over the world. Another famous example is the Apple logo. I'm sure you know the Apple logo. Very certain you know about the Apple logo. Designed by Rob Janoff in 1977, this logo is simple and instantly recognizable, featuring a clean, white silhouette of an apple with a bite taken out of it. A few more examples are the FedEx logo, designed by Lyndon Leader in 1994, is another famous example of minimalism. The logo features bold FedEx text and an arrow pointing forward between the E and the X. This subtle arrow is meant to represent movement and speed, which is perfect for a logistic company. Another example is the Nike logo, designed by Caroline Davidson in 1971. This logo is another example of simplicity and minimalism, featuring a clean bold swoosh symbol. Now the Amazon logo, designed by Turner Duckworth in 2000, is another simple logo yet iconic logo. The logo features curved arrows that looks like a smile connecting the A and Z of the letter. This is meant to represent Amazon's wide selection of products from A to Z. Another famous example is the Pepsi logo, designed by Arnell in 2008. This logo features simple and bold Pepsi text with a red and blue circle behind it. How about we talk about accessibility and usability? These two aspects are crucial for any successful design. Now, accessibility refers to the ability of a design to be useful by everyone. I was talking about children and adults that time. What is used by adults may be useless to children. What is used by children may be useless to adults. But this accessibility now, it refers to what? The design that can be used by everyone. For example, quotes. You can design or maybe a weekly quote. This design can be actually used by anyone. It can be used in schools, in offices. You understand? So this is accessibility. Now, usability refers to how easy it is to use a design. These two aspects are often overlooked, but they are essential for creating a successful design. For example, consider how websites like Google and Wikipedia have been designed to be accessible and usable by everyone. Product design is different from graphic design. Product design is the process of creating products that are both functional and appealing. It involves considering the form, function, aesthetics of a product. Some famous examples of product design are Apple iPhone, the Dyson vacuum cleaner, Tesla electric car. Each of these products has been designed with a focus on both form and function. The iPhone is sleek and easy to use. The Dyson is powerful and efficient, and the Tesla is stylish and environmentally friendly. Now, graphic design elements. I've talked about graphic design elements, and I'm still going to talk about it again and add some few things to it. There are many graphic design elements that make up graphic design, but the most important ones are line, shape, and color. Those are the most important ones. Lines can be used to create shapes, guide the eyes, or create a sense of movement in your design. Shapes can be used to create pattern and structure or create visual interest. Colors can be used to create emotion, mood, or sense of harmony. Now, fonts. Fonts are also important element of graphic design as they can add personality, emotion, and style to a design. But there are different types of graphic design. There are many different types of graphic design, but some of the most important common ones are branding, print, web, and motion graphics. Brand design is the process of creating visually identity for a company or product. Print design is the creation of physical material like poster, flyer, brochures. Web design is the creation of websites and web pages. Motion graphics is the process of creating animation and video for digital media. There are also different types of graphic design, like the user interface design, information design, and package design. Now, there are many different types of flyer, but some of the most common ones are promotional flyer, event flyer, and informational flyer. Promotional flyers are used to advertise a product or service. Event flyers are used to announce and promote an event. Informational flyers are used to share information about a topic or issues. There are also many styles of flyers, from minimal and clean design to bold and graphic design. The style of the flyer should match the tone and the message of the content. But some most common ones are promotional flyers, event flyers, and informational flyers. Promotional flyers are used to advertise a product or service. Event flyers are used to announce and promote an event. Informational flyers are used to share information about a topic or issue. There are also many different styles of flyers, from minimal and clean design to bold and graphic design. The styles of flyers should match the tones and the message of the content. Now, the 6 principles of graphic design I told you earlier, but I'm going to be buttressing on it again, to your remembrance. They are what? Balance, contrast, alignment, repetition, proportion, and white space. Balance is the distribution of visual weight in a design. Contrast is the use of different elements to create visual interest. Alignment is the arrangement of elements to create a sense of order. Repetition is the repeated use of elements to create cohesive design. Now, to create a cohesive design, proportion is the size and scale of elements in relation to order. White space is the negative space around elements in a design. Thank you, Jesus. So, if you've watched or read along to this place, you are the real MVP. Kudos to you. My voice has gone already. Pardon me. Kudos to you. Make sure you subscribe. Click the subscription button as a form of encouragement. Now, these things are, I read out and explained to you. Mostly they are self-explanatory, but you can always come back to check, and you might also want to rewatch or listen to the audio to grab and assimilate. Then, if there's any question regarding what you just watched, reach out to me. I guess I should write my WhatsApp number. So my voice has gone, but I'll still talk. If you have any question regarding this. Most of you have my WhatsApp number, but if you don't have my WhatsApp number, or some people used to give excuses that their phone got cleared, their phone got hacked, and other excuses. So this is my WhatsApp number: 09030234279. Miss Victory A Momo, Vamb Concepts, Graphics Design Training Coach. Sorry for the break in my voice, but see you in the class. Bye. Bye. Bye.